Flosstube. I'm back. It's episode 2, Flosstube installment 2. My name is Jess and I'm Cross Stitch Jess here and over on Instagram. My pronouns are she and her, and yeah, this is my channel about cross stitch. So my last video was my first, so a whip parade and a bit of an intro and things, and I was not even a little bit prepared for like the reception that I got. I think like I said in my last video, I went into this for my own reasons, for my own benefit, for practicing presenting, getting more comfortable, feeling less anxious, and yeah, I think I'd gone into it prepared for like maybe a couple of my friends might watch it, maybe like a few people might come across it, so I'd like prepared myself not for the worst, but like I'd set my expectations quite low, and I was completely okay with that. I was completely chill if like 2 people watched the video, and like if 100 people had watched it, I would have been like, wow, like loads of people want to see my stuff. Was not even remotely prepared for like over 3,000 views. And there was one particular night where I went to bed and it had about 200 views, and I was like, oh my gosh, lots of people wanted to watch my video. And I woke up with over 1,000 views and was a bit like, what alternate reality have I entered here? So yeah, it's been an amazing couple of weeks. It's been unexpected. I'm really grateful. I'm really fortunate through going to retreats and various meetups and things to have met a really lovely bunch of people. So I want to thank everyone who's given me a shout out. A lot of the people who have are people I'm very fortunate to know in real life, and yeah, thank you to everyone who shared or tagged me or mentioned me in your Flosstubes. Like I've spent 2 weeks feeling all warm and fuzzy and having a really full heart and a lot of gratitude for the people that I'm fortunate to have met and have in my life. So thank you everyone, and thank you for all the lovely comments and things as well. Like I think Alfie had his own little fan club. He's I think upstairs at the moment, but he no doubt will make an appearance. And also there were so many really lovely comments about what I shared with autism and my mental health. People who either have had a similar experience themselves or have a family member or a friend who's gone through like a late diagnosis or have like children in their family who have recently been diagnosed. It's so nice. Like I've said from the start, and the same in my workplace, I'm very open about where I'm at, what I've been through, and yeah, I like for example had someone at work tell me that me being so open and honest about going to therapy, for example, has made them feel like it's okay to kind of go, maybe I could do with talking to someone about some stuff going on in their life. And like if me being open about it helps just one person like that, it feels like it's kind of worth it, and I'm really proud to be able to talk about where I'm at and be quite open and honest about it. And yeah, it's just really heartwarming to get comments and responses from people saying like that they relate or they understand or they've been there, or how can they help support their friend or their child, grandchild. So yeah, thank you for those comments as well. Those ones in particular have really sort of made me feel like very warm inside. I'm really glad that I yeah, decided to do this. So this video is going to be a bit of an update on my stitching over the last couple of weeks. I'm going to preemptively say I've had quite a few finishes and that is not the norm. So like, just to set expectations, there's a bunch of finishes now, like that. Yeah. I did stitch from stash at the start of the year, and whilst I really enjoyed it, I think it gave me the bad habit of pushing on all my small projects for a finish. it now means that all of my small projects are finished and I now just have big ones. So yeah, lots of finishes for now. Won't always be the case though. And yeah, at the end, after all my whips and finishes and starts and things, I'm gonna talk a bit about my upcoming stitching plans and upcoming life plans, because the next 6 weeks are like, part of me regrets saying yes to everything, but there's no single thing in that 6 weeks that I would take back saying yes to. And then I've got the pattern that I was giving away on my last video, and I feel like I'm forgetting something. What have I forgotten? And then yeah, my plans for upcoming Flosstube. So without further ado, I've spent a weird amount of time thinking about how to do this, and I actually already tried to record this and just did it a bit chaotic, like whatever came out of the pile first. But I found it quite stressful, so I am going to go in a particular order. I'm going to do fully finishes, and then starts and whips will be mixed together, because I guess once they're started they are a whip. So I have one fully finished to show you, and it's this. Oh, glare. So this is B by Lorna Laine, charted by GeckoRouge even. It's part of a bigger pattern, so I'll put a picture up here of what it should look like. I've chosen to just stitch the B. I've stitched this one for one of my best friends. She was one of my bridesmaids, one of my oldest friends that I met when I was about 16. And I'm going to do a Flosstube extra about this, so I won't go into too much detail, but I told her I wanted to stitch something. She told me she likes bees. I sent her a bunch of bee patterns and she picked a short list basically. I really like this one. Like, the original has like a gorgeous like yellow, orange, pink honeycomb background with some flowers and things on. I didn't quite anticipate how big the pattern was. So I decided just to stitch the bee for Becca, and I bought the kit. So GeckoRouge only do kits. I bought it to stitch 2 over 1/18 count, but since buying that kit I've kind of fallen in love with 20 count, so I've done this 1 over 1 on 20 count, which means I know that I should have enough thread, because I'm using half the number of threads and it's on a smaller count, so I should have more than enough thread to do the bee and the background again, but for myself. And then Becca and I will have matching pieces. It was Becca's birthday over a month ago now, but I am seeing her in a week or two's time, so got around to framing this, and I used a new technique. Like, normally I would lace the back of projects, lace them onto a piece of card. Here comes the doggo. For this one I used a new strategy of like pinning the fabric around the edges to get it straight, and that makes it much easier to adjust. I did stab myself lots of times, so I will use this strategy again, but I have bought myself some foam core boards. I already had some in black and in white. Come on then. Okay. No, in the middle. Scooch over. Good boy. So I already had some foam core board in both black and white, but it's the 5mm. It's quite thick, and these are just cheap and, well, I think this one's from Dunelm Mill, just a basic black frame, and yeah, I don't think the thickness of the 5mm foam core board would fit in there, so I've ordered some 3mm, and that arrived yesterday, so I have a stack of frames and finishes ready to go. Just need to cut that board up and yeah, hopefully not stab myself as many times. I'm really happy with how this one's come out. I'm really excited to pass it on to in a couple of weeks. So that's my one fully finish. Try and balance it there. So next we have some finishes, so go for whatever's on the top of the pile. So I'm doing these for my husband John. These are individual pieces from the Magic School Stitch Along. designed by CircleCross. There's 25 tiles and each one is a different sort of elemental magician. So whenever John goes away to a LARP weekend, which is live action role play, think medieval reenactment but fantasy, he goes away camping for long weekends, and every time he does, I've started stitching one of these for him so that I don't have to be like try and hide it when he's in and around the house. I'm doing them all on different size fabrics, and he's picked the colours to match the element, so he doesn't know that they're magicians, he doesn't know that they're black work, he's not seen any of these yet, but he's picked the colours to match the elements. And yeah, I'm doing them all on different sizes of fabric, and we're gonna like have them framed as a bit of a feature wall in our board game room because we're that level of nerdy. So this one, I'll hold it up, is the Astromancer, and this is the biggest one I've done so far. So this is over 2 on 14 count, so it's effectively 7 count. And yeah, I really enjoyed this one. I found it really easy compared to the other ones. I'm doing them all in one strand of thread, but I'm changing the thickness of the thread. So this is 12 weight Gutermann cotton. The other ones I've done on 18 count, I've been using, I think it's 30 or maybe 40 weight Gutermann cotton, and then the ones that are sort of in between, so if I do any like over 1 on 14 count, I'll probably just use EMC. But it just means that the pattern sort of scales with the thread thickness. And I guess just for comparison, because they're all kept together, this is one, I'll try and fit them all on screen. This one is done on 18 count, over 1. Yeah, hello Alfie, do you mind? So you can see the difference, and now like I'm intentionally choosing lots of different sizes of fabric, so that they create like a nice sort of, I've asked John to pick his favourite elements and done those bigger, and then the rest I'll do sort of middling or small size. So that is finish number 1. I'm already losing the plot. I think that's the first one I've talked about. So yeah, that's my magic tool sampler. I've done 3 now, and it's John's birthday next month, so I will give him those 3, and then from that point I guess it doesn't need to be a secret because he knows there's 25 in total. So it'll probably be like an ongoing project for the next 3 or 4 years, and we'll just gradually add to the wall. Cool, so that's finish number 1. Finish number 2 is not cross stitch. This is Brenda. I'm gonna pop her on the table there. So Brenda is a little crochet Triceratops. She is my first attempt at crocheting, and Beth from Stitch with Beth, or Beth Chadwick here on Flosstube, came over and we hung out for a day, and she taught me to make the little Triceratops. And when we were done, Beth was saying that she thought that mine had like strong feminine energy, so I've given her these binder ring earrings. And you can't see it, but these shelves, I've got one on the wall next to where my stitchy spot is, so she sits up on the shelf and sort of keeps an eye and keeps me on task. That's Brenda. And this was partly learning to crochet so that I can complete, I won in a raffle earlier in the year a crochet your own Hedwig from Harry Potter. So this was my like learn how to crochet, and then I'm now trying to figure out how to transfer those skills to the rather vague instructions and try and remember different things. So I'll show you Hedwig in a minute in my starts with section. Cool, so that's finish number 2, and I guess that's a start and a finish. Number 3 is another one, or the first one that you will maybe recognise from my whip parade. So this is Squirrelly. I really struggle to say that for some reason. This is Squirrelly from Mill Hill. If I bring it up try that side, so you can hopefully see from some of the sparkle and the shadow there that there are different colours of beads going on. I bought this one to stitch for my nan for her birthday, which is in November, so I will, yeah, work on fully finishing this. I'm going to do it with a magnet on the back because I know she has a collection of magnets on her oven. But I've stitched her a hedgehog before. It was one of the first things I stitched and gifted. So this, yeah, this one's gonna be for her birthday. I did really enjoy this. It was quite satisfying how quickly it went. But it was weird having done Tangled Fire full cross, so both threads going through, so that the beads sit square. It was weird leaving some of these with just one thread going through holding them on. That felt like not very secure. Like, they are very secure, they're not going anywhere, but just it felt quite, it felt unfinished, in the sense that my hands kind of from muscle memory wanted to do more motions for each bead. But I really enjoyed it. I didn't super love working on perforated paper, so in future I might do these on fabric instead. It was a really nice quick stitch. It was very satisfying, and it's got the cute little specialty, I don't know how well that's going to show up, it's not going to focus, but it's got a cute little specialty bead down here, a little leaf. Yeah, that's finished number 3 if we're counting Brenda. Number 4, so this one is fairly hot off the hoop. I found after doing the whip parade I was finding it really hard to decide what to stitch on. I had that like sudden burst of motivation and inspiration that I wanted to be working on everything, so I jumped around a little bit and eventually decided that I needed like a logical way to decide. I quite often find if I'm struggling to make a decision, I'm sure like lots of you will relate, if you're ordering say takeaway with a partner, loved one, spouse, and you don't know what you want to eat, but as soon as they say like a cuisine, you're like, not that. I find with cross stitch, I find it really helpful to come up with a rule, not because I have to stick to it, like the rule could change every 5 minutes, but it helps me either go, yeah, I don't mind working on whatever whip the rule has told me to work on, or whatever colour to do next on the project I'm working on, that kind of thing. Or the rule will tell me what to do and I'll be like, I really don't want to do that, and then I will come up with a new rule. So I was looking, I use Notion to keep track of what I stitch and when and how much and things, just because I'm a bit of a data nerd. And I was looking at my list of whips, and coming into this year I had 6 projects from 2022. They're my sort of oldest whips. 3 of them I've UFO'd so far this year, just because like in 2022 I didn't know about like Facebook groups, I didn't know about Instagram or Etsy, so several of them are things that I stitched because they were like the least bad options that I could find, if that makes sense. I didn't stitch them because I absolutely adored the artwork. I stitched them because they were the least bland looking of the options I could find. And the 3 I have left I definitely want to finish, so I ended up deciding to go for the oldest of the 3, which is also the smallest and the closest to a finish, which is this. So this is Well Behaved Women by TeaJeigh Designs. I'll put that down below because I have no idea if I'm pronouncing it properly. I've recharted the text on this because I wanted it to fit into a hoop. Slightly annoyingly, it's a little bit too big for the closest hoop I have, but the next size of hoop up, because this edge is a very narrow margin, it's not going to fit, so I'm going to need to try and get an in-between sized hoop. I've really enjoyed this. It's 1/1 on 28 count, just on plain white. Hello. And I think I put it off for a long time because I thought I didn't enjoy 1/1 on 28 count. But I think something I'm learning is if I'm not enjoying a project, often it's just that I've not got it set up the right way. So I started off, I think, stitching this in hand back in 2022 and finding that my thread slipped between the strands of the fabric quite a lot. I used to stitch almost entirely in like sewing method, so you go down and up in the same motion. It just doesn't really work 1/1 on even weave, so I then started putting it in a hoop, and that helped a lot. But now that I've got a stand and I've gotten used to stitching two-handed with a scroll frame on Tangled Fire, and like I get like, I think there's something weird with the nerves in my little finger on this hand, but holding a hoop, and it puts pressure like where you're pushing down, and the weight of it is on those bottom two fingers. I was just finding it really uncomfortable. I was getting hand cramp and just really not loving it, so resorted to putting this in an urge hoop using the Lowry stand, and suddenly it was a cakewalk. It was really easy and fast. So yeah, I've really enjoyed this. I love the saying, it's something to live by, and these threads for the text, I don't know how well it shows up on the camera, but they're variegated threads that I got from Create Nostalgia. They were end of line. I don't think the company exists anymore that makes them, but they were a bit of a bargain, so I just picked a bunch of colours that I really liked, and I've really enjoyed stitching with them on here, so I'm looking forward to finding something else that I can use those on. They've got really nice variegation where it transitions quite gradually from Alfie. Lay down. It transitions quite gradually from one colour to the next, which I really like. I think it makes it much easier to stitch with. You don't have those like abrupt lines and jumps in colour that look quite out of place. So yeah, let's finish number 4. And then last but not least, the one that I'm sure a lot of you, Alfie, come on mate, like lay down. I'm sure this is the one that a lot of you will potentially have come back for if you did see my whip parade. This is Tangled Fire. Okay, off. Okay, and it's finished. So this only lasted like 3 or 4 days after the whip parade because I was just so motivated to get it done, and every time a comment popped up where someone complimented it, I was like, yes, more beads, get them done. I don't think it's going to show up particularly well. Let me try and bring part of it up close so you can see some of the shimmer there. But I absolutely love this. I'm so happy that I braved the slightly insane choice to do it this way. And yeah, to anyone who's considering it, like, go for it. There's about 22,000 beads on here. I think that equates to about 110 grams. Like, pick a pattern that doesn't have too many colours. And I'd strongly recommend, if you can, going into a bead shop. So my go-to is Spellbound Beads in Lichfield. I'm very fortunate that that's only about 40 minutes away, but going in and being able to pick them in person makes all the difference. I picked my first ones online. When they showed up, half of them weren't what I had envisaged. Oh, it's heavy. So my plans for this finish, I'm going to a couple of retreats over the next few months, and one of the vendors is a framing company, so I'm hoping that I can take this along to the first retreat and basically give it to the framers there and then pick it up at the second one. And this is going to go in our guest bedroom. We've got a bit of a space theme, I guess, in there, which sounds really like something that kids would have, but it's basically just a dark blue wall, and then NASA did some space tourism posters that they're like free to use, so we got some of those printed, and they're quite like 80s retro style. I'll maybe put a picture up of a couple of them. But yeah, I think that project gives like a very like burning sun kind of vibe. So I don't know how I want it to be framed. I need to have a look and see what the options are. But yeah, I will definitely show it again when it's framed. I think that is all of the finishes. Pretty sure. If I've forgotten anything, I'll show you next time. So next on to starts and whips. Obviously several of the things I've shown you, so the Magic School tile, the Astromancer, and Brenda were both starts since I last recorded. What else? So this is another of the Magic School tiles. I decided to start doing the frames even when John's around, because this obviously doesn't really tell him anything about what it looks like. There is this decorative border, and I haven't done it on any of the others so far because I've not left enough border on the fabric to be able to do that and have enough space to frame. But for this it's quite a nice big piece of fabric, so decided to add that in. This one is from Stitchy Ferret. It's one of her Fiver Friday fabrics. So I don't know if this is still available, but if you like it, drop her a message. I'm sure she would be able to find you something similar. So this one's for the Pyromancer, the fire one. And I'm probably just, as and when I'm a bit like not feeling motivated on anything else, I've actually picked out now I think almost all of the fabrics. I've been really fortunate the last couple of retreats to get a lot of like bright coloured fabrics on D-Stash, and I got a bundle from Sophie as well. So I think I'm going to work through doing all the frames for these just so that I can cut out the relevant size piece of those fabrics and put the rest back in my stash. So yeah, it's a little one, but we'll be coming back out again soon. What else? So we have Twisted Band Sampler. So I think I shared this one on my whip parade, and I'd just done these sort of 2.5 bands, and then I'd got stuck on choosing the next colour, and I'd basically neglected this for, I mean, I was going to say weeks, but it is literally months. It's probably about 6 months. So after talking about it on the whip parade, I very much just went, just do it, Jess, like stop faffing around. So up here is my little colour key of what I've used. The next colour I picked was 727. Turned out I only had like one strand, like 2 or 3 strands of one length left. So I did a tiny bit of that, and then I started the next colour. I think what I might do is where there's a specialty band, because it's not like butted up against each other, like every stitch there's a little bit of space in between them. I think the colour transition there is like a little bit subtler. I think in the middle of these cross stitch band it's quite a blunt swap sometimes, and I think that's probably what was bothering me. So I think what I might do, although it would mean ripping some of this out, I might not do it for this one, I'll do it from the next one onwards. But I think the middle sort of couple of rows of that diagonal, I might do a blend, like 1 strand of each, because I'm doing the cross stitch in 2 strands, just to make that a little bit subtler. Yeah, I still don't have the whole colour palette picked out, but it's progress. I'm not in a particular rush to stitch on this. It'll probably be a when I fancy it, and I put it on this frame, but I'm not, like, I wasn't initially getting on with it, and I'm not sure why. I might swap it around so it's like stitching in the ditch instead of at the top here. I might try a different frame. I think basically because these sidebars are so long, when I stitch I want to be able to stitch at this bottom edge, and obviously this project doesn't really lend itself to that because you're working in diagonal bands, but just I think having like less height, I don't know, it's not quite working for me. I need to figure out why. but I've got some other options. I might put it onto the frame that I used to have Tangled Fire on, but we'll see. That's one whip that I am really glad that I made even a little bit of progress on, because it got me past that blocker of picking the next colour. So my next start is the stockings. I honestly can't remember if I had this and showed it when I did the whip parade, or if it's something that's arrived since. I bought this through Talking Dog Stitchery, which is Rachel, and I saw these and immediately knew I had to have them. I'm not normally the kind of person who would stitch seasonal stuff. I don't think any of my projects at the moment are even remotely seasonal. They're all like a bit, I don't know, whatever the opposite of seasonal is. But I saw these and I have a bit of a thing for advent calendars. Growing up, they were my favourite Christmas tradition. We always had the kind that you fill yourself rather than like the cardboard and plastic ones that just have like little lumps of chocolate in each day. I've actually, because I was in that cupboard earlier, I've gone and dug some out to show you because I've got a bit of a collection. So this is one that my mum made when I was, I think, probably a teenager. So I think it was a kit she bought, and it came with like the printed fabric, and each of these little pockets has like the little flap and little pocket with the numbers on. So mum made this one, and then, I mean, so that was in my teens. When I was very small, and I'm gonna crowdsource here, so if this sounds familiar to any of you, or if you had this, or if you know where I could get one, or even what words to use, because Google has been failing me. We had some when I was a kid that were like, they were cardboard, but they were like a tall square column, and they were designed to look like a candle, so they had like a little cardboard flame at the top, and they had 2 stacks of little cardboard boxes inside that you sort of pulled out of a slot at the bottom. And they were like my earliest memory of advent calendars, and they just used to have like a celebration or a heroes, like the little chocolates, or like those little twisting and sparkly hair clips, or stick on earrings, like just random little things. But like, it was my favorite thing about Christmas. And it's something that I have sort of carried into being an adult. So I've got a couple here that I've made. This is one that my husband made. These were some leftover cards and envelopes from our wedding. There's a bit of glare on that. There we go. So he's basically done little numbered envelopes, and in each envelope is a reason he loved me, or loves me. But they were just really sweet, and yeah, just a really simple one, but something I really loved. This is one that I made, I think, when I was at uni and a bit skint. So I think these were just made with, I'm completely guessing here, but like 4-inch quilting, they're called charm packs. So they're all just different Christmas themed fabrics, and I've just sewn them into little pouches with a little sort of pull string. And I think at one point these had little like tiny gift tags that I'd written the numbers on, but they've gotten lost over the years. So these are just sort of lucky dip, pick a different bag, and there's obviously quite a lot of them. And then the last one, which is probably the one I'm proudest of, are these. So these I basically made little origami, and they're all in different shapes. So there's little boxes, there's little sort of octagons, yeah, that sort of open up in the middle here. But I made 2 of these, one for my husband and one for my mum. Like every year I'll send her an advent calendar, little cubes. They've all got the little star with the number on. But yeah, I just wanted to show those because it's my favourite tradition, and it's the entire reason why I saw this pattern. It was like, have to have that. I don't know exactly what I'm going to use them for. I might, I mean, John and I have also done board game advent calendars, not necessarily things that are designed to be advent calendars, but there's a game called My City, and I think a sequel called My Island, that's like a legacy game, so you like the story progresses and the gameplay progresses, but they both happen to have 24 little games, like half-hour games, so we've done those where we've played one a day throughout December. But yeah, it's quite a lot of backstory. So this is my little start. Sorry for the see-throughness, I really haven't so this is number 1, you can see it on the front there. I'm doing this on a slightly smaller count than the designer recommends, so I'm doing it on 18 count rather than 14, which is what the model's on. And I am changing a few of the colours, so I'm not the kind of person who would normally stitch in pastels. I don't know if you can see here, but in the bird's body there's actually a second colour, and I just didn't think it popped as much as I would want, so I've just made the main body like 1 shade darker so that those patterns stand out a little bit more. It's the same colour palette for all 12, but obviously each one has slightly different colours in sort of the main figure or the main animal. So those changes will probably be, I'll figure them out piece by piece as I get to each one. My plan for these is there's obviously 12. I'm going to stitch 1 per week as a bit of a countdown to Christmas. I was going to start on the 1st of September, but I'm filming this on the last day of August, and as you can see I could not wait. So I made a start, and my plan is to do 1 per week, countdown to Christmas, and that means they should be done I think at the end of November, and will give me a couple of weeks to get them fully finished. I'm going to be doing these, I think the instructions and how they're done for the models here is these are just sort of cardboard mounted, so they're not like openable, you can't put things in them. They're more like a flat ornament. The Stitching Owl has very kindly done, she stitched, I think the number 1, she stitched it 3 times and has done 3 different tutorials on how to finish them, so I will be making good use of that information and finishing them as little stuffable stockings. And I might put in like, I don't know, like a sweet treat each for me and John and the name of a board game, and we'll like play some games in the countdown to Christmas. So that I think is all the whips and starts and progress I've got at the moment. So plans for the next few weeks. As I said, I've got a lot coming up. In a couple of days I'm going on a sort of short holiday, like a mini break with my mum. We have decided to do one of these like mystery holidays. So while I have a pretty good guess, and like I'd eat my shoe I think if I was wrong, they give you clues in the run-up to tell you a bit about the city and the country that you're going to, and one of the clues is one that I remember being told on a walking tour because I've been to this place before. But they basically send you an envelope, and the idea is you get to the airport, you open the envelope, it tells you where you're going, what plane you're getting on. Theoretically up to that point we don't know for sure. So I'm going on that next week. A week later I'm then going to a wedding. Stitchy friend is getting married, and like simple geography here because I'm not very good at it. Where I live is pretty much smack in the middle of the UK. If you think that like a big X, so you've got sort of, I don't know what the flip is going to be on this, but you've got sort of north, east, southeast, southwest, northwest. So 4 hours this way from us, I am going to a wedding in Newcastle on one weekend. The following weekend I am going completely the opposite direction. I'm going down about 3 hours to go to Cardiff to visit Sophie at Pink Scissors Fabric for the day on Saturday, and then on the Sunday there's a stitching retreat, Loopy Loos, I think it's Loopy Loos Retreats, which will be my first time going to that one, so I'm really looking forward to that. And then the following weekend I'm going northwest, about an hour and a half. I'm going to a stitchy retreat in Crewe, which is one of the Ladybird ones. And my friend Flo is coming. It's going to be her first retreat, so I'm really looking forward to that, and getting to see her and lots of other stitchy friends. And then the following weekend we are going the 4th direction. John and I are going down towards no, sorry, I'm missing a weekend. There's a weekend where Tan, the monogamous cross stitcher, it's her birthday, and a mutual friend, Soph, is coming up and staying with me for the weekend, so that she like can break up the journey and it not be like one very busy day. So that's going to be a weekend of hosting. And then the following weekend John and I are going south east, because we are going on a mini cruise holiday just across to Ireland and back. But it just means the next 6 weeks are just going to be non-stop, and like I'm working throughout all of that, so I don't plan to film again probably until after that period. So you're not going to get another update like this for quite a while. But I did say at the start, I'm making no commitments to how often I'm going to film. It's going to be when it suits me, and that's fine. What I am hoping to do is possibly after filming this, I will be filming Flosstube Extra. Yeah, like just a different perspective on gifting cross stitch and handmade items. And yeah, and then looking further afield, I am still planning to do like another Flosstube Extra. Like I might do it as a stitch with me, because I will feel much more comfortable if I have something to do while I'm talking about that. But yeah, please, if you want to, keep sending questions. You can send them on Instagram or pop them in the comments. Thank you to the people who have already sent questions. I have been keeping a list of them for when I get around to doing that particular episode. And then stitching wise, so I've already talked about the stockings. I'm going to try and do those one a week. I also, where I was saying about my 2022 projects, another one of those is my D&D stitch along from Taylor and Cromwell. I have 10 rooms left on this, so my plan is to do 3 in September, 3 in October, 3 in November, and then the last one at the start of December, so I can then frame this and gift it to John for Christmas. I think this is one that I just need, like I went through and put all of the patterns into Pattern Keeper, which I think will hopefully help. I think I just need to get it together and crack on. I don't think it will take me that long. Like the last few rooms I've done have only taken a couple of days. I just need to pull myself together and get going on it. So that's, I guess, monthly goals alongside the weekly ones for the stockings. And then the other couple of things, so these aren't started yet, but I'm planning to stitch the Highland Christmas kit from Bothy Threads. I showed that at the end of my last video. It's going to be for my nan for Christmas. So I'm probably going to, each week and month, I will prioritise the weekly and monthly goals, and then the Highland Christmas will be what I then fill the rest of my stitching time with. And then the last start that I have is for part of the Introverts Unite Sal. This one's run and organised and started by Lucy from HoopsAndCrosses. It was her birthday earlier this week, and she started, I lose track of who started which because everyone has picked their own sort of introvert related patterns. There's a very enabling group on Instagram, group chat, but I already had on order the Silver Creek Samplers pattern that says introverted but will eagerly discuss cross stitch. I ordered it as part of a pre-order from Rach at Talking Dog Stitchery, so I'm waiting for her Needlework marketplace order to arrive, and then that will get sent out to me and I'll start that then. On the note of Rachel, while I've remembered, she has very kindly given me a discount code to share with you all, so I'll include a link below. But if you do head over to Talking Dog Stitchery, if you use Jess5, it will get you 5% off your order, which is always nice to have a little bit. I mean, being honest, I would just then spend that extra 5% on extra threads and things. She has loads of the fancy flosses and things, so it's a great place to be able to buy the pattern and get the threads at the same time. I think that's everything for now. I'm not very good at making plans and sticking to them, so whilst I've set weekly and monthly project goals, who knows? Yeah, I'll just be seeing how it goes. I don't want stitching to ever be stressful or feel like an obligation, so yeah, we'll just wing it. The other thing that I just thought, seeing them on the other side of the room, I definitely want to get some more fully finishes done. Doing it with the pins rather than the lacing was so quick and easy. There's like almost no excuse not to. I've got probably 3 or 4 finishes that are ready to go in frames. I just need to sit down and do them. So hopefully next time I'll have some more framed fully finishes for you as well. Last thing, I've just remembered the giveaway. So on my whip parade, I had I'm just trying to find who won it. I had a pattern, a little booklet for an embroidery sampler that I don't really want to continue stitching. It was my first try at embroidery and I'd rather stick with cross stitching. There's nothing wrong with the pattern, it's a lovely pattern. I wish I'd persevered and finished it, but yeah, so I offered to give that away if anyone was interested, and I asked people to say the word rainbow in your comment if you were interested, and I drew the winner yesterday. I don't know if that's going to show up, but Lady Fabby, if you can get in touch, drop me a message on Instagram and let me know your address and whether you want my part completed whip or whether you just like the pattern, and it probably won't be till after I'm back from my trip, but I will get that posted for you. And lastly, I try to keep Instagram mostly cross stitch related, but I probably will post a few updates about my trip, the mystery trip. So if you're interested in that, or you want to see how I'm getting on not sticking to my goals between now and my next video, yeah, Instagram is where I will be. I think that's everything. I feel like I've been a little bit scattered on this one, but I guess it's my first doing an update like this, so I'm sure we'll get smoother over time. Thank you for watching, thank you for choosing to come and spend some time hearing about my projects. Alfie has just heard me use my I'm about to say goodbye voice, so come on then, come say hello, come on. Yeah, Alfie definitely can tell when I'm about to say goodbye on a work call because he immediately perks up to come and say hi and see if it's a snack time or a time to play. So from me, from Alfie, we'll see you next time. Bye!